Hello y'all on YouTube, this is Rob with Rob's Nerdy Knives. Today I have a very interesting and really cool review impressions of a knife that was given to the Apex Pass-Around group from CJRB Artisan Cutlery. So if you didn't know, CJRB is a division, the budget line of Artisan Cutlery. And I actually have a affiliate link if you want to check the description down below and you want to shop for some of these great knives. It would really help out the channel, so please check that out. This is the CJRB Feldspar. This is the button lock version, which is really cool. And you may have seen a review already. I did the very large liner lock version of the Feldspar that was also a flipper, but it's much bigger. This is a more reasonable size, I think. That larger one, if you like really big knives, check it out. It's an awesome deal. But this one, you know, this is the Damascus version. And it's a steel liners, and it runs for, I was going to say about, it looks like the retail is going to be around $89 or $90, somewhere around there. So there's that, which seems like a really good deal for what you're getting. And they don't use just like, some places use not the greatest Damascus. You know, it's not Damascus steel or Chad Nichols, you know, super premium Damascus steel, but I think it's probably, you know, a pretty decent steel. And if you will, they actually get a nice polish and shine on there. Sometimes some of the lower end steels it's very dull, right? So you get a nice little kind of design on there. I put some oil on here when it came to me, because I was the first one in the pass around when CJRB allowed us to have this. So again, thank you to CJRB for allowing us to check this out. I really do like this. If nothing else, I like the design and the style. I might consider one of the other variants, maybe not the Damascus one. But still very cool. So if you've been wanting to get a Damascus, this is not a bad way to start off checking this out. For $90, I think you're really in a good spot, and I think it's a great test knife for that. So maybe worth considering. Steel liners, we have some great amount of weight relief. I don't know if you can see that in there. Let's see, can we see that? Yeah, some really good weight relief. So it's a lot of cutouts. So it makes it relatively light. It's not super heavy. I like that a lot. Deep pocket carry clip is totally concealed, which is really wonderful. It's got a nice little spot for where the thumb studs are, and like with the CJRB, their thumb studs and button locks, that puts your thumb in the perfect position for a flick, and likewise with your reverse flick. So it works really well, both left-handed and right-handed. So that works really nice. And the button lock here is really nice. It seems to engage or lock up, I want to say a good 50%, which is nice. So yeah, it is pretty solid in there. There's a little rock. I could probably see about maybe tightening that. Since this is a knife from the manufacturer, I don't want to do any changes to it. I don't want to modify it in any way. But I can tighten it if the pivot screw is just a little bit loose, because we don't want that to fall out. That would be more harmful to the knife than anything. So let's see if we can, yeah, it's a little loose. So we can put a little bit of tightness there. Let's see. Oh yeah. That's close. That's really close. I don't want to over tighten it. Like I said, I don't want to ruin the experience for anybody else, since I'm one of the first on the group to really get a chance to try this one. Okay, let's see if that does it. And here comes my screwdriver. Yeah, that's perfect. All right, so let me move that out of the way. All right, so it's just a little bit loose. If this were my own, I'd probably take the screws out and I'd probably use some Loctite. And Loctite 242 is a great consideration for a knife to keep it in place. The action is beautiful. Like I said, it does engage really, really well there. So that's nice. There is no rock now. It's in there really solidly. I like that. And when it drops, it's not a detent, but you can call it a plunge resistance or plunge sort of detent, if you will. How it engages back here in the blade and holds it in place, but you can still overcome it with a flick. Now the nice thing is with a plunge lock, or a button lock, you can open and close it with a button lock. So that's always a cool thing. So you have more than just the thumb studs to deploy it. Well, maybe I can. When I first did this, I had a little trouble getting in there. I might be able. Yeah, left-handed. Can I do it? No. Okay. It was easier. You know, maybe if I put different washers in there, or maybe if I put a little oil in there, that would be possible. You could do that middle finger flick. It's not my knife. I'm not going to mess with it. Let's see, how's that centering? It's pretty close. And we might have lost a little bit of centering, tighten that pivot because it was a little loose. But there's cool little things you can do to center a knife. Not a big deal at all. And it's very, very minimal. I mean, really an OCD nerdy guy like me is going to notice it. You may not notice it. If you line it up just for the tip, it's pretty centered. It's part of the blade where it's not. So anyways, it can be close enough. You might want to tune it, but very easy to do. I think I did a video on that. If not, check my playlist. I think there's definitely something in there. And if there's not, let me know, because then I can make a really good video about that. But what I really like is, one, beautiful contouring. It's nicely chamfered all the way around the material. You've got a great button deployment method. Closes really, really nicely. Thumb studs work really well. They're volcano type. The action to close is wonderful. Deep pocket carry clip, steel. All this is steel, just so you know. We're not dealing with titanium, right? All this is steel, so it does attract. But for the price of $90 and Damascus steel, that's a great deal. I think the regular one is going to be, I'm not sure, but I think it's in the 60s or 70s, somewhere around there. The Damascus is always a little bit more. It might even be a whole lot cheaper than that. Let me see if I can find that. No, I'll look at it later. But I do know this is a great budget alternative. Like if you like the pyrite, the Feldspar with the button lock is really cool, right? So I definitely think that's really cool for the price and everything, and how well it engages. All right, so let's do some measurements. Since we talked a little bit about everything, I don't really know the designer, by the way. I think it's an in-house designer. If you know differently, please comment down below. All right, so let's get our measurements here. It is steel. And it is, you know, so steel liners will add some weight. So let's see. Well, 4 inches? Yeah, 4. So 4.12 ounces. So it's right at just over 4 ounces. So you do have to deal with that. It's a little bit of weight. Let's do some measurements on the length here. Okay. So it is not super small, but it's not super large, right? I mean, you could probably consider this a full-size knife because it's right at 8 inches. So this would be an 8-inch knife. So it's kind of, I mean, it's kind of a full-size knife, right? The large Feldspar is almost close to 9 inches. So that's a big boy. And I like it. It's different, but I like it, you know. And it's, that one has M390 steel, whereas this is Damascus. So definitely different in price as well. All right, so let's look at the blade. The blade, we're looking at about 3 1/4, maybe 3 3/8 maybe. We're looking at the length of the blade from the tip to the handle. Cutting edge, we are right at 3 inches. I mean, depends on your state, local knife laws. You know, you have to adhere to that. I'd say this is really close to that 3, a little over that 3 inch, and I would be very cautious to pursue that. Oh, I forgot to measure the handle. All right, so handle length-wise, you have 4 inches from the very tip here, but beautiful choke-up position gives you 5 inches. So this one chokes up really nicely. So you can definitely choke up. There's no jimping up here. It's pretty flat. The thumb studs help you to kind of navigate that part. This is a very thin blade. We're going to measure the blade stock thickness in a second. So that's really nice. I think that's cool. All right, so let's measure that blade stock thickness. All right, let me zero that. Sometimes it gets a little weird with me. All right, so there we're close. So let's see, we're at, 109 of an inch, just barely 1/10 of an inch, just slightly over, not much at all. So pretty thin for an 8-inch knife, right? So that's cool, which means the edges can come down to a nice thin slicey edge. I believe the Rockwell hardness is 59 to 61 on this. I think this might be an ARRP M9 variant, or maybe it's like a 9CR MOV or something like that. I'm not sure. I don't know the details on it. It's good budget Damascus. I mean, you are paying extra, like an extra $30, like $90, as opposed to I think the 60 or whatever the normal runs. So there's that. All right, so purpose and, the knife category. So the knife category, because we're at $90 for this one, we're definitely in the budget realm for me, as far as I'm concerned. Some people's budget might be less, and it's a nice budget. You get Damascus steel, and if that's a big important thing, Damascus steel at that budget realm is really cool. I think that's definitely worth considering. There's some benefits to that, so there you go. Purpose, I think this is everyday EDC. It's a thinner blade. Again, you're going to want to definitely make sure you're not prying and doing weird crazy thing, but you can definitely open dog food, cat food, plastic wrap around water bottles, your letters, your envelopes, Amazon boxes, whatever. I think all that will work out really nicely. It's a good everyday, and especially with a deep pocket carry clip, very purposeful. It might be a little bigger for some, and maybe that's okay, and it might be just about the right size for others, right? So there you go. Ergos and feel. I like this. This reminds me a lot of the Pirate as far as good engineering, right? I get my thumb on here and I follow this kind of groove of the handle, and I'm going to deploy it pretty well. if nothing else, I go in this little groove right here and I move in, I can still deploy it really well. Likewise on the back, same place, I can deploy it really well. So I would have to say the handle and the design is really nice. And once you deploy it, everything, like I said, is chamfered. It's comfortable. There's no really hot spots. I mean, this clip is a little goofy, but it doesn't dig in terribly, at least not for me, even choked up. It feels relatively fine, but I'm sure, I think they sell titanium clips that you could replace. If you want to pay a little extra, you could do that. Did notice that this is a reversible, so this is not inset into the scale. It's on the outside. Likewise, over here, it would fall into those two holes. So you just swap this longer screw on this side, the two screws in here, you move over here, and so then it's tip up left-handed carry, and you have a grip over here. So that is a really, I think, cool. Deployment and design, thumb studs work beautifully. And like with a button lock, you can press that and flick it. So I like that. I think it's cool. And you know, the conical shape on the thumb studs make it comfortable. The button here is nice and recessed, but it really works. It doesn't act, it's not one of these where if you tap it just barely, it's going to open. So you're not in any danger of that. I think that's really, really cool. All right, closing and design. Cade ceramic ball bearings allows for a beautiful drop. As you can see, just goes down and just shuts nicely. I like that. So I think that's really good. All right. Fidget factor. All right, so out of fidget factor, again, thumb studs and a button lock. So I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. That's best, most fidgety that you can do with that. But out of that 6 out of 10, CJRB just knocks it out. They know how to get that going. So it's just really nice. It's very comfortable, it's fun, and it's fidgety, and you can keep doing it over and over and over until you go crazy, right? But I like that. I like that about a fidget knife. So I'm going to give this 100. Out of the 6 out of 10 that you can do on this one, it gets all 6 out of 10. So it's 100% as far as fidget factor. For its maximum fidgety goodness that it can do, it does it well. Absolutely knocks it out of the park. So I think that's really cool. And it's going to be fun, short and long term. It works really, really well. All right, overall thoughts on design. Is it recommended? Well, I kind of gave you a hint in the beginning. Yes, absolutely. It's a great knife. I think you can use this for anything and everything. Even the Damascus steel, which is kind of cool. You know, it can be a conversation piece, but it's functional and it works, right? So there's that. I think that's nice. I like the steel liners. I like everything. Not a lot of weight relief. It really makes it a tough knife. Has a little bit of weight to it, even with all that cutout, which feels natural in the hand. Let's see, where's the balance? Yeah, the balance is going to be right here where this is. So that's going to feel natural there, really balanced. And when you choke up, excuse me, it will be a little heavy in the back, but you know, I mean, usually when you're doing a kind of that, you're doing a very precision cut or you're choking up doing something like that. So you're not going to think about that much anyways. So wonderful thoughts. Recommended. Yes, it's recommended. It's going to be in my recommended budget knives, right? It's going to be, I don't put it quite in my budget knives. I mean, in my recommended knives, because that's really over $100. So, but it's definitely recommended. Recommended budget knives. So you're going to see me talk about that and recommend it to others. Absolutely. So, and my overall thoughts, I think it's a great deal. It's a great buy. It really is. You get a lot of bang for your buck for what you get here. So I think that is wonderful. Definitely worthwhile. So there you go. That's my thoughts on there. Hey, if you have any questions about this review impressions, please feel free to comment down below. If you have any ideas for future videos or any future things you'd like to see me do in the videos, please let me know as well in comments. I do try to reply to all of those as best as possible. Right now, we're at the size of the channel where I can absolutely kind of do that and keep up with it, I think. You know, so I just want to engage with you guys. And I'd love to hear your ideas and your thoughts. All right, so if you found this video fun, interesting, or worthwhile, would you please consider hitting the like on this video, the like button on this video? And if you've already hit that like button, maybe consider subscribing to the channel. Subscribing and liking the video really helps the channel grow, allows me to produce more content, opens more opportunities for that, and ultimately, you know, for you guys. So I really would appreciate that. And if you've already done that, maybe consider hitting the notification button so you can be notified of future content. And if you've already done all that, maybe also check me out over on Instagram at robs_nerdy_knife. Again, that's on Instagram at robs_nerdy_knives. Hey, thanks so much for watching today. Have a great day and a great week. Bye.